Yo, what's up, guys? You might have noticed it in the last balance patch. We got a buff to Theomars. A buff to Theomars. Like, what the hell was the point on that in the first place? But that means that this team doesn't work anymore. Or does it? Well, let's first look at what this stupid-ass buff is. Like, this was one of those things, like, the balance patch was all pretty mediocre in the first place. But what the hell does this buff mean that Theomars gets a 30% attack bar when the Endure hits? That doesn't make any sense. In PvE, it doesn't make any sense. In PvP, it also doesn't make any sense because he's just more likely to die, and Theomars in general is on like revenge. Then he can revenge with attack buff, and now he just gets a turn and then he dies. Like, I really don't get the point of this buff whatsoever. Is that maybe a come to us thing of saying like, oh, we don't want you to properly use this in like R5 that you have been doing or something like that? I actually don't know. However, what are a few options to fix this? Well, the first option I actually thought about is using a Federica rather than a Theomars, because in the end, it's kind of a similar unit. It has a passive that makes it that it doesn't die, so therefore the Colleen can get the healing in, because that's the most important thing. It has a leader skill. It is 28 attack, so you use 28 attack rather than 24 crit rate. It's kind of potatoes. The only thing is that you have to do 100 crit rate on your Bill, your like all of those units, your Bill, your Brandia, all of those units would be 100 crit rate. So that is an option that you could do. You could also maybe put like a Rika in this position, so you don't use the crit damage lead, but you use a Rika lead over here. So there are a few options here and there what you could do, and which might fix those things. So yeah, those are definitely options. However, there's also been a whole bunch of people, of course, testing this out. And what I saw on Twitter was the following. So the person that also made the Trikaru team, Tigi Rirori, I probably really butcher your name, sorry for that. But he did test a few things. And he said that if you have your Colleen at a certain speed, your Brandia at a certain speed, your Bill at a certain speed, and then Theomars at 0 speed, it still works. So those are the things that you have to keep in mind. And yeah, that is definitely still an option. I did test it out. I got slightly different results on that because I tried the 34 speed on this and that didn't exactly work. He also showcased later at another one that you could go even slower than that, but that was not really the case. Yeah, this one, he said that you could even go slower. So this is your Brandia, this is your Bill, this is your Theomars, and this is your Colleen. So I'll showcase what I just did and what did add up for me. So we have this. Is this all readable? I think it's all readable. Well, it's pretty small. Let's see if I can kind of zoom in. So yeah, okay, can kind of zoom in here. So the thing with R5 in general, R5 has a different tick. For some reason, or raids in general have like a tick of 4.5 instead of the normal 7. If you don't like the math, you can skip a little bit forward in the video and then you just see the exact numbers that I recommend you to. Well, I'm going to show that over here as well. But what is the thing that happens? So we have at an early tick, Theomars at some point gets like a 30 attack bar. We do need to have Colleen moving in front of the Theomars. So if we make the Colleen one slower, we can see that, does it actually still work? It might actually still work. Wait, maybe the other version does actually work. I just had the Brandia too slow. Because here I still see that the turn orders are correct. Does it just not work if I make the Brandia too slow? Yeah, I kind of have to jump around a little bit with these numbers, but let's say just the one that I went for personally, and then I'll just check around what works for me. So if I make my Colleen at 49, the Theomars will actually cut in this position while being 0 speed while getting the boost. If I make the Brandia 35 speed, and the Bale has to be a minimum of 42 speed, the run still works. So I'm currently working around with this, so a 49, a 42 and a 35 respectively on those units. But I didn't really notice, like if I tune this down, so I can go this all the way down to, let's say this. What is the edge where I can go for that it still works? I think it's about this. Yeah, okay, so this would probably also work. Very likely this would work. I'm pretty sure that this would work. So you could go by lowest, Colleen on 41, Bale on 41, and Brandia on 40 or 32. So are these the same numbers that he was saying? It's literally no, it's a little bit higher than he was saying, because so right over here, I actually overdid it on the Brandia. It was the best damage set that I could get. I need 35 over here, but I went for a 41. And this one, I needed 42, and I went for 42. The highest damage set, of course, is on the Bale. Also, if you haven't seen this team all together, check out the other video. It's going to be in the description down below. But if we run this right now with a Theomars that is as low as possible on HP and defense, and then also 0 speed, those are the two important things. If we go into the run right now, this should totally work. If the other version works with the Colleen slower and then also the Brandia and the Bale slower, I will think it works. I'll just try it after this to see if it actually works. But as you can see, it still works the same thing. Theomars doesn't take a turn, and that's just how the turn manipulation kind of stuff works. Let's just see if this works. Then I'll also switch it around to the slower version, and let's see if that then also still works. I do think that still works as well. So in this case, run is back to fixed. Counters, why did you have to do this to me? But let's actually tune down the Bale and the Brandia, because in the end, if you need lower speeds, the room requirements of this team just goes down, and that's what we're looking for in most cases. Well, after a bit of testing around on swap, I actually came to the conclusion that this build, which is the absolute lowest with a 39 and a 32 and a 41, makes it where my build doesn't get the right stats for enough effective HP to be surviving in this whole dungeon. So I actually, my strongest build that I can do on the build is actually the build that I already had. So in that case, I also would have to do like the faster Colleen still, so I switched it back to the faster Colleen. And then you would have to simply run it as this, where I have currently the 42. In this one, it's just one speed above or the same speed. That's totally fine. This thing on 0 speed. And this thing is currently the 51 for me. So it is not exactly this. This is the most minimalistic that you could get for the speeds. But I'm running it in this version. So these are the numbers by my findings, which I think are the ones that are working for also the slower tick and the faster tick. Currently, I'm still working on the faster tick version because that just gives my build the best stats, because the best stats I can get on my build is a 42, so for that reason, I'm just gonna go with this one. And yeah, that's just something you have to keep in mind. It works like this, it works a little bit different. You probably also have to craft some fight runes to get your Theo into where your Theo is going to be literally 0 speed, and then also the least amount of stats on everything else as well. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it for this whole video. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. Definitely fix your R5 team if you haven't yet. We have free R5 coming up pretty soon, and that's the reason why I'm making this video. I was actually kind of postponing this video, but this video has to be there before people want to do their free R5s, of course. So definitely recommend to do this. If you haven't seen how this team specifically works, I would recommend the video of pretty much just showcasing that team, and it will be shown in there. This team is definitely something you can make with a lot less rune quality as well. You can also make it with the Miriam, in case you're asking. There's definitely a lot of different variations to it, where it's probably not going to be the 21-second team, but it's going to be a little bit slower because the units on the right team or on the left team have to do a cleanup after the build. But it's definitely a possibility where you can build this on a lot less damage requirements as my build is, for example. So for that reason, definitely recommend it to check out this comp. Guys, thanks a lot for watching, and also thanks to the guy that thanks to the Japanese guy that showcased us that this is still possible. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. See you later. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab, which has the dungeon guide archive and the video guide archive, which contains all of the guides that you need. Hope to see you there.